This is Ivermectin Politics in Peru, Part 3, the final. I'm going to discuss some of my thoughts on this FLCC video that YouTube recommended. And it's, this guy, what is his name? Juan Jaime. Anyway, he really interesting charts he put up, and this one is really interesting. Just the notion of using all-cause deaths in Peru. And as I've discussed, the colorful lines at the bottom are the normal death rate in Peru. And the normal death rate is 300 to 400 deaths a day in Peru. That's it. It's just what it is, year after year, day after day. But in the age of COVID, and that's the 2020, the big hump, the big camel hump here. That's COVID. That's the age of COVID. And you can pretty much assume it's COVID. And maybe even suicides during the lockdowns, but it's still COVID related, right? Like something happened in 2020 and we all know what happened. And here we are 2021 and it's rising again. So that's kind of interesting. Now in the United States, I don't know if you know, this is an article from like a year ago, April of last year. I was just reading like, okay, well, hospitals get money if they diagnose you for COVID, if they put you on a ventilator for COVID, and when you die on the ventilator, if they declare your cause of death was COVID, they get mondo money. So our ruling true, we rate the claim that hospitals get paid more if patients are listed as COVID-19 and on ventilators is true. Hospital doctors do get paid more, diagnosis, and 3 times more if the patients are put on the higher allocation, blah, 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 blah. So here's the thing, right? What about the U.S. data? That alone just tells you it's inflated, the COVID, deaths and everything, right? Because it reminds me of like, the bull crap calling black people if they have any drop of blackness in their ancestry, and like that's just ridiculous. It's like Elizabeth Warren, had a rumor that one of her great grandmothers or somebody was Native American, blue-eyed blonde, Elizabeth Warren, gets in as an, whatever we call it, Native American, on affirmative action. It just makes a mockery of this stuff, right? And so why do I bring that up? It's like COVID, right? Yeah, you got diagnosed with COVID and your wife knocks you over the head with a baseball bat and they say, well, she died of COVID, or you got COVID and you're eating cheeseburgers and like, boom, you get a heart attack because you're obese. And they call it, oh, you died of COVID, because there's money in it. There's money in that. There's money in that for the hospitals. And so, like anything in America, our life here is corrupted by money, and the COVID thing is that. So, in terms of running the data, like to see what Ivermectin did in the it's way too messy. I don't even know if you could do all-cause deaths like that, because we got so many different causes of death in our country. We're really unhealthy, our food and everything, and most people are obese, and obesity brings all this stuff, So I don't know, so it's really good to use a country like Peru, which is a pretty simple damn country, and you could just run this data, get out the confounding factors, and show, holy crap, is ivermectin effective? I mean, that's a story that this guy Juan is concluding. I don't know if it's true. I didn't, go deep into his study or his math or his, code to see, if I agree with his conclusion, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was true. And isn't it interesting how in a small country like that, single politician can come in and just change it, like, Army go out, give everybody ivermectin. Well, you got elected out of office. Next president comes in, no ivermectin for you. Like no soup for you. And these curves are swinging wildly. Revolution in Peru, who knows, man.